Hi, my name is Ryan, and I'm a senior from the Basis Independent Fremont class of 2025. My background in CS and AI began before Algoverse, where I came from a math competition background, and I also did ASDRP, which is another well-known program in the Bay Area for CS and AI research. But at ASDRP, I feel like all we really did was read some papers and reproduce already existing work. And so when I found Algverse, I realized it was a much more enriching program, I feel like, because I saw stuff about like conferences that we would be submitting to on the Algoverse page. And I realized these conferences, I recognized them from canonical works I had read in the field, like where Google DeepMind or OpenAI had published their work previously. And then I got on a call with Kevin, and I realized he was a super genuine and committed person, and he was very honest about the program and what potential shortcomings it might have during its first cycle. And having gone through the program now, I can confidently say that everything that he told me was genuine, and I definitely do not regret joining Algoverse in any way. Algoverse has really been the jumping off point into the world for my authentic like AI research experience. So our research project is based around mathematical methods to improve LLM reasoning. So LLMs determine their outputs through a process called decoding, where the LLM uses its weights to choose an output from all the probabilistically possible outputs that exist. So instead of just taking an output from the LLM, we developed a new decoding strategy where we took multiple outputs from the model and then aggregated them using the distances in the embedding space to find a consensus. And so with our methods, we found as high as 11% improvement on many common LLM reasoning benchmarks. And at the beginning of our research process, I feel like we had very little intuition because it's hard to gain intuition as a high schooler who doesn't really have that much experience with large language models. So it was a little bit hard to come up with mathematical decoding methods at the start, but as we read more papers and tried methods and had our weekly meetings with our mentors, Kevin and Sean, it became a lot clearer what potential strategies might actually make sense. And we settled on using the centroid as an average of the LM's thinking processes and relating all the embedding vectors to that centroid. And Sean and Kevin really helped a lot with assessing feasibility of ideas. And when we actually started to see accuracy gains, it was super fulfilling. So I joined Algverse in fall 2023. And every week we would have weekly meetings with our mentor and also a lecture where we like learned about fundamental NLP and AI concepts. And then in our weekly meeting with our mentor, we would talk through potential experiments, project direction, and during the week, we would have documented, like rigorous, streamlined code notebooks where we could test our different experiment ideas. And then every week we would go back, group together as a team, and then talk to Sean and Kevin about like the ideas that we had and what was possible. During the entire project process, Kevin has been super responsive, and you can really tell that he cares about the success of the project. A lot of the times, we were on a time crunch towards the end of our deadlines for workshops and conferences, and he really pulled through and stayed up late and made sure that everything we needed in the paper was in there. And even though our cohort had ended in December 2023, Kevin has continued to help us with our project, even now in December 2024, and we're looking to submit to even more conferences in 2025. And he has still stuck with us, even though we have not re-signed up for the program or made any new payments. Algoverse was really where I learned what true AI research looks like. As I mentioned before, previous programs basically just used existing research work and then made minor modifications or wrappers to that work. But at Algoverse, I feel like I really learned about how models really function and how we can modify them in certain ways. And as a high schooler, I feel like it's very important to realize what you can do in terms of a research um, program. It's hard to really make a real dent in very like up there AI research topics because frankly, there's just a lack of resources and expertise and collaborators. But I feel like Algverse was a really good way to learn how I can make an impact, whether not in like the leading edge of, oh, I'm making a new model or I'm creating this novel new method that will get 10,000 citations, but I will make a dent in this certain field, maybe like AI for healthcare or certain mathematical coding methods. And I feel like that's where the real value of higher school research can occur, where it's not working on the frontier problems, which we can leave to like Google Brain and OpenAI, but making dents in in smaller fields and seeing our impacts come to life through that. And I learned a lot about how to truly conduct like novel research that people have not done before, and also deal with all the roadblocks and setbacks that come with that experience. I've also become much more in tune with the field of AI and up to date with recent developments. And I definitely want to continue researching in the coming years at college. Our paper acceptance has also been a highlight on my college application and resume. And I definitely would not be where I am today without Kevin and Algverse. My favorite moment from the program was definitely attending EMNLP, which was a conference that our work was accepted to. We met so many industry figures like Amazon research scientists, or we even saw a Google recruiter that gave us a form to put our names in during the day, during the conference. And I had a lot of good conversations and research brainstorming with people who were at the conference and the poster session. We made some friends outside of the Algoverse cohort at the conference. And then we also all had lunch together, had a good afternoon poster session, and then we went out on a night adventure in Miami where we walked around the city all together and topped it off with some nice fried Oreos at 10 p.m. in the night. And the whole experience was simultaneously one of the most fun yet academically enriching trips of my life. And I feel like it was definitely like the culmination of a lot of hard work, and it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the experience. One thing I would like to say is that you should make sure you do your research before joining high school research programs for sure. I feel like a lot of places will pair it being AI research programs, but I didn't realize that a lot of them aren't legitimately like novel or new research until I joined Algverse and did real research. And I feel like you should definitely vet your programs and see their past work as well as the venues that they publish in. At Algoverse, you can actually see the links of papers that have been published by previous students in proceedings of like top conferences like EMNLP and NeurIPS. And you can use that and gauge like kind of the level of work that is being done because all of these proceedings are also out in the public.